Hi, I'm not very far in my startup company, so I'm going to do my homework based around some of the day jobs I've had. So that way I can be able to think about peaks and valleys, even though I haven't necessarily experienced them in my startup company, but still from my own experiences. Okay, so I did read the articles. I took screenshots of homework assignments as we went through class so that I would be able to do this right away when I knew I would have time for it. So articles were good. They actually were a great synopsis of what you talked about in class. So that was nice to be able to read it in a different format and from other people and with their experiences to be thrown in there. Okay, so the first topic of the three I've chosen I'll talk about is labor in my day job. When I first started, we were a smaller organization, so we had a tight-knit group and we all knew how to work with each other. And while we all worked remotely, we knew how to communicate with each other and knew a little bit about each person on an individual basis, not just work capacity, that kind of a thing. And so that was a great thing because I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing and I had a purpose to follow and knew how to get it done. Now, fast forward a little bit through COVID, we had received some extra federal funding to be able to help communities with implementing some of recovery strategies, etc. And so through that, we were also able to hire some new team members. But at the same time, we haven't been able to gather. So we hired 2 additional people, but only met them on the day we hired them and haven't seen them in person since. So that makes it difficult to keep a tight-knit group all working and functioning in one direction when you don't know how your other coworkers work well, the best way to communicate with them, kind of what their personality is, that kind of a thing. So that makes, I feel, in a way, a team less productive. So that can be a valley because there's less connection. And then that also makes it difficult for a leadership standpoint. So my boss is working extra time to be able to keep a bigger team going. So that kind of spreads her out and makes it harder to lead everyone. Anyway, so that's kind of my examples for labor. The second topic I would probably pick would be market timing. So from a production ag standpoint, demand is probably the biggest thing that would, and growing of crops or livestock make that go. So, when you sell corn on the board, you want a good price for it, but you also have to sell it and have a delivering date that you're able to follow through on. Where we had corn and cattle, you can't sell corn and have it delivered when you're calving. So that's an interesting thing. So for instance, a high would be getting a great price and you would happen to know your break even and would be knowing that you're making money at that time. And then, low would be market tanks, or you lost your crop and, hopefully you had insurance on it. And I don't know. So that's kind of my relation for market timing. Could also be seasonality, I guess, if you want to look at it like that, but I consider it more market timing for my examples, I guess. Okay, then my third one would be cash flow, where I did a lot of financial stuff. I would say cash flow would be knowing how your business operates, utilizing a cash flow. So for instance, your peak would be knowing that, if you only have cattle and you sell them, one time a year, that you're only going to get paid one time a year. So when that day comes, man, talk about a peak. That would be on the day that you sell cows and get your check. But then the valley would be making sure that you're able to utilize that money through the whole rest of the year until that day comes again. So it'd be really important to know your whole year projections and that kind of a thing. So that would kind of be the peaks and valleys there. But no, good things to think about, and I'm looking forward to peaks and valleys in my own business and more peaks than valleys. And already I've grown quite a bit internally to be able to handle them, and to change my perspective when a valley does come, so that it's used as a learning tool. So.